Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Texas World Speedway for 100 laps around this 2-mile oval. Got a lot of drivers in the field today. A lot of excitement is ready for this race, and we're ready to go for the longest race of the season, the Lowe's for Pros 600. Joining me today will be Peter in the booth. However, he will join us post pre-race ceremonies, and he will join us for the live coverage of the race. Meanwhile, though, it is Matty Porta in the 20 car on pole. What a drive by the Italian Stallion here on this Memorial Day weekend. The 20 team takes home the pole with Anderson Reed in second, looking for his first career win in the Cup Series, and that GameStop number 3. Right behind him is Roger Ray and Irving Allison. Ray with a fantastic qualifying start, and Irving Allison in a nice Spanish-colored Eris 16. DJ Curtis is 5th, Tib Foster in 6th with his USA paint scheme in that 40 car. Alex Beniaco 7th. Jay Jefferson, last season's winner, in 8th, trying to go for the repeat this season and go 2 in a row after his win at Pocono last week. Logan Cloud sits 9th for the 77, and Brandon Morris in 10th. A lot of patriotic schemes out this weekend. You got a bunch of Orange Auto cars running some. You got some SBR guys running some. So nice to see some action there. But it's not all U.S. cars. You see the Spanish car, the 16, Rose Henson driving a Canadian car, and the 81 team, Luke Evans Incorporated, a U.K. team running the U.K. flag on their car. Joseph Strigley missed this race last season after getting injured at Pocono. Alex Beniaco filled in the 63, started that on the front row last season, but did not have a good finish. Strigley starts this race in the 13th spot today. Austin Johnson, a big run for that Johnson Performance team. He rolls off in the 18th or 16th position there in that 51. A bit further back, you got Carter Friesen and a brand new sponsor, Cover Seal, on the 85 car this season for a handful of races in his final year. That team, they're looking to get themselves into victory lane at one more time this season. It's a good starting spot in the top half today. We'll see what they can do. A little further back, Danny Lloyd in the 61 this week, Eric Monaco in the 07, and it's Antoine Smith, in the 87 this week. He beat out Aiden Smith in Go or Go Home qualifying for that final spot. The 87 car with an interesting iHeartRadio American flag design on that one. William Duncan in the 33. He rolls off a bit further back for the Saya Trucking car. Alongside him, Diego Yepes. Jeff Alloway starting near the back. Sebastian Kukulon with a new Freightliner scheme. Possibly could be running the remainder of the year in it. And there you see Rose Henson. Her and Jay Jefferson just got in about 30 minutes ago from the Indy 500. They're set up in the cars ready to go racing here at Texas World to complete the double this weekend. It was a bit of a rough run for Rose in the Indy 500, but she is going to try to run very well today in this Texas World event for her own team. Further back, Alex Peters is in the 81, qualified that car in. Adam Mitchell in the 03, that is a German paint scheme. The German colored flag on the Aldi 03. And Dusty Neal with a very poor qualifying time. He's going to roll off 40th in what should be a charge through the field, hopefully, for the CFR 094. Well, we are done, and we are ready to go racing here at Texas World. It's going to be 100 laps, a long race ahead of us. You got to keep the car clean. You got to stay out of trouble. You got to be there at the end to try to win it. Will Monster Motorsports be able to win? Will Orange Auto be able to win? Or will Toyota start back up if Jay Jefferson could not go 2 in a row this weekend? We're going to go ahead down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at the Lowe's for Pros 600. Texas World coming at you right after this. Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for the fastest qualifier in all 26 Sundrop Cup Series races this season. Today it's the Italian Stallion, Matty Porta, for the DeWalt Tools number 20, starting this car on pole. Will he be able to take home the victory at Texas World for Monster Motorsports? Will he be able to bring Chevrolet back into victory lane in the Cup Series? Find out after 100 laps here at the Texas World Speedway. With that, the engines are fired. We're ready to roll off for these 100 laps at the Lowe's for Pros 600 at Texas World, the longest race on the Sundrop Cup Series schedule. It's going to be an endurance race. You got to keep your car clean for as long as you can, and you got to make sure that equipment can last to the end. Reliability could be a major factor at this track with how fast you're going and how hot it is out here. It's a very hot day out here in Texas. Memorial Day weekend, you got a bunch of red, white, and blue paint schemes. A couple other schemes as well. You got the UK colors on the 81 car, the Spanish colors on the 16. But all we're looking at is right now, with a fuel window of 55 laps, might be one pit stop if you can keep it clean. What are you looking today as the key factors for this race?
I'm feeling more toward the veterans for this one. I mean, it's a long race, and the veterans, they have experience running these higher distances in the NSDCA. So looking at guys like Porta, um, Tim Foster there, Jay Jefferson, Brandon Morris, Logan Cloud, Carson Bowers, Peter Onjak, maybe even Larry Hagan back there. Hagan actually coming off the back of an MDCS win, so he's got a little momentum coming into today, as well as Jay Jefferson, who's already driven a lot of mileage today out at Indianapolis, but flew out here to Texas World. Joining us, probably the viewers, many viewers from Indy as well. So, and got to thank it to these fans for sticking it out here at Texas World in the bright summer heat. But these drivers, they got to turn up the heat for 100 laps here as the Pontiac pace car will make its way down the pit lane to kick things off.
And it's going to be 100 laps, a long day ahead of us. You got to keep it clean. You got to keep some pace up front. You might have to get out of the middle because that could be where it all goes wrong. Coming down to take the green flag. We're racing at Texas World. Green flags in the air for the longest race of the season.
Boy, the 84 just did not get going on that start at all, dropping back, hemorrhaging positions back there. As you see the inside, big checkup with Jefferson and Morris. But out at the front, it was Irving Allison getting an elevator move to get to the bottom. Took away P3, now looking on P2 underneath Anderson Reed. As Porta pulls away, and we are under caution.
I saw a spin at the back, and it's William Duncan immediately in this race going around. And it looks like Jeff Alloway, too, so a lot of fans were skeptical about this driver. He had some great short track pace, had nothing really at Pocono, was in the back all race long. It looks like already he has turned around William Duncan. So the Saya Trucking 33 already torn up. One lap into this one. And everyone else is going to get ready, rack them, stack them back up. Couple cars moving spots up already. We'll see if anyone are early takers onto pit road. As Porta, Anderson Reed, and they're all having some time getting down there, but we will be getting these guys down now, formed up for this race restart. Looks like Tim Foster might be hitting pit road. He might be the driver leading them down in that 40, and that he will be. So some guys staying out and some coming in. Split strategy already here at Texas.
What did I say? The veterans, look who's coming in. Foster, Jefferson, Morris, Cloud, Bowers, Spurley Tube even. A lot of these veterans coming down, they know the benefits of pitting early. You see Brady Burkhardt, Carter Friesen back there as well. You got Kukulon, Dusty Neal. So, yeah, a lot of these drivers with experience coming down, but some of them staying out, like Porta, Onjak, and Larry Hagan. So we'll have to see how the split strategy pays off. More of them came down than did not. Looks like it's just going to be a little splash of fuel for all these guys. And don't expect the order gates shaking up a two-lot, as a little bit close there on pit road here at Texas World.
Early incident here today. William Duncan at the back. He's going to have his Toyota partner, Sebastian Kukulon, dive up to the inside, trying to get up to the front real quick. It's just straight up turns him. Alloway's going to get a piece of the wall as well. So really, Alloway or Duncan had nowhere to go. That 19 getting there real aggressive early is going to put both of them in the wall. 33 and 91 damaged early on here on lap number 1 of 100.
Welcome back to coverage of the Lowe Pro 600 here from Texas World. Matty Porta, Anderson Reed, DJ Curtis, 3 of the top 5 belong to Monster Motorsports. Between the 5 is a Toyota sandwich of Irving Allison and Alex Beniaco. Also staying out, Onjak, Hagan, I believe that's Austin Murray there. Matthew Eves, Jacob Edson, that's going to be your top 10. But if you look just a few more cars back, you'll see everybody that topped off on fuel, and that might be crucial in the later stages of the race. Tim Foster leads that group, but you never know. When these cautions fall, you might be needing those 2 extra laps of fuel that you just got on this caution.
And really, for some of those front guys, they're not going to lose too much time. Again, this is already... They ran 1 green flag lap, came around for the second one, and came down pit road. However, If you saw with Kukulon last week at Pocono, he was tearing through the field. He pit a little later, probably a little too late, but nonetheless, if you can make fuel last a bit more, you can come in, especially when it's not a crowded pit road, come in and out without any issue, and you might be able to pick up a few seconds. Even still, with how old this track surface is, it's abrasive on the tires. You could really have a big gain if you can just pit maybe a couple laps later if we do see a green flag round of pit stops. Let's see if we can get some racing, though. Green flag's back in the air. Lap 4 of 100 complete, on to lap 5 of 100 here at Texas World.
Porta nailed the restart. Irving Allison couldn't figure out where he wanted to go on Anderson Reed. He goes high currently, way high. Look at him outside of that rubber in line, possibly trying to rubber in that top groove. A big run through the 16, but I'm not sure if he's going to have the spot off the corner. Does not look like it. Reed clears back for second. We got one car almost on the wall back there. That might be Srigley. Might have just brushed it.
That is a tricky part of the course. Turn number 2 is very hard. Just, I don't know what it is with the corner, but coming off of it, you can get real close to the wall trying to hammer it down, especially when the tires start wearing. It's going to be much, much harder to hit these corners properly. Foster already starting to tear through a little bit. Monaco, Anderson, Yepes, Goforth, Lane, they all stayed out. Again, you're not really having much of a pace advantage. You just got more fuel, so they're playing a bit more of a long game than anything, but that is still a chance to tear up and show some speed. Maybe you have some a car that is set up for in the traffic. But right now, Porta hanging strong up front. As we said, the inside line can be a little tricky, especially, though, once this track starts to rubber in and once the tires start to wear, the inside can be big. But this is another momentum-based racetrack, just like Pocono. Draft is going to be key. The way you approach corners and get runs off of corners will be key to making passes here today for the next 93 race laps.
I mean, you saw it there in turn 3. Irving Allison got way low on the inside, checked up the field, stacked them up a little bit. That allowed the top 2 to pull away, but might be the smarter move for Irving. Oh, well, that's not a smart move to hit the wall, but maybe that was the smarter move. Get off the gas, catch your car, and not have it push high and right up into the wall on corner exit.
As we
checks up that time.
Yeah, and you'll see, as we said, this track is very tricky. The inside line is very poor in comparison to other tracks, especially just because it's all full throttle. Please do not get... They're going 4 wide here. Foster, Anderson, Jefferson is trying to make an Indy 500 move up here in the 48. Tibbs going to go up into Yepes, has nowhere to go. Just barely keeps it off. Now you got Eves there. Yepes, Tibbs going to back on out of it as they come off the corner. And what a drive that was, as we got a battle for the lead. Anderson Reed going at it with teammate Patty Porta.
Off into the corner. Porta says thank you very much and sends it into turn 3 and 4. Has it. Wasn't as big of a send as Jefferson there down into turn 1 last time by, but everybody made it out clean. That's what we like to see. Now, Anderson Reed chasing Matty Porta. Can he get him this time into turn 1? Like he looked 1 lap ago. Not there yet. There's plenty of time in the race to set up his move. He just cannot let that 20 pull away.
And that's the big thing there. Jefferson able to pull away last season in the closing laps. He had those fresh tires, yes, but Bowers, as soon as you lose that draft, you lose a ton of time, a ton of gain over the rest of them. As Onjak's now going to take that 3rd spot away from Irving Allison. Happy to see that patriotic scheme return on the 44 car this season. They run 3rd. Alex Beniaco back in 5th. Curtis 6th. Austin Murray now going after him for that 6th position. Matthew Eves, he played strategy at I-69, didn't pan out at the end. He's right now top 10. There's Jay Jefferson, last season's winner. Foster, who's been getting real close with a ton of drivers already to start this race, and the rest of the field going on through. Just taking a quick look through the field as Dusty Neal started this race 40th. He's already up to 24th, 1/10 of the way through this one. Burkhardt, Cobbs near the back. There's Kukulon in the 19. And you know what's good at least to see is Duncan. He has a ton of damage. So does Alloway, but they look to be at least keeping pace with some of the other cars. There's Rose Henson in the 86 coming off of her dream day, really, getting to race in the longest Cup Series race of the season and the biggest IndyCar event of her career. She has to be happy about that one. Also looking at the back to see Stephen Wallace Jr. in the 65, struggling today. Eli Braid as well. Kukulon, Butcher trying to charge through. DeLello not up there with the rest of the monster guys. As we go back up to the front, Curtis has lost a ton of time. Never mind, I thought Curtis was the one in 2nd. He's the one back here. So he's fighting Beniaco right now for the 5th spot.
We got a battle here for 5th. We got a battle here for 2nd. Here comes Onjak underneath Anderson Reed. Side by side. These two have a bit of a history. Reed used to drive for Onjak's team. And now they're just competitors, so there might not be as much leverage that they might give to another competitor, but we'll have to see. Keeping it clean so far, keeping it good as we got one in the fence in turn 4. Not sure who that is. Is that the 28?
That is Riley
Yes, it
Spurley
is.
tube. And that's going to throw him back with the TSR guys, and that is not good for him. His season in the Cup Series, just like Eli Bright, not going how the truck is. Real quick, we're just going to make a note of this because this is not going to work out for too long, especially coming off of 2. You got Monaco in front of Neal, just keeping it clean. This guy's getting real aggressive at the back. But as we said, Spurley Tube's season has gone from pretty bad to worse. He sits 30th in the owner's points right now. If he finishes back here, he might just be knocked out of being locked into the field, and that would be pretty bad for TSR, as they already have Butcher, who has missed 2 races this season, Eli Bright, who's just been in go or go home this entire year so far. You got Reed and Onjak catching back up front, and here comes Jefferson charging his way through. You got at least 2 TSR guys running good. Jefferson and Hagan both inside the top 15.
You got to give credit to Jefferson and Henson to that extent. They sweat their butt off for 500 miles, and now they come here to an even hotter race to 600. It's just incredible. Just a testament to what these human bodies can do, and show you the amount of effort that these drivers put into their physical capabilities. They just don't sit in a chair and turn the wheel.
The people that are sitting here too watching this race, it's got to be hot up there on those stands. But this is one of the biggest races of the season. Is now Onjak. Big run is going to just drive right by both Monster Motorsports drivers. New leader, Onj Auto's Peter Onjak. What a drive past the 2 Chevys. As now Anderson Reed still trying to get around Porta. He has not been able to this whole race. But as we were saying, if you see, look at those stands. It's a packed house here on this Memorial Day weekend. It's a hot time. It's already the Texas heat, and now you're on some bleachers in the middle of a racetrack. So it's hot for everyone here, but I don't think anyone wants to be in where it's the AC. They want to live this racing. They want to watch some great battling that's going on as Jefferson charging through the field. Anderson Reed trying to get up here. And look at Alex Benyako having a great run in that 83. Moved his way to 4th. Looks like Irving might have gotten a piece of the wall again. I don't know if that 16 car is handling too well back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's no 300,000, but 150,000 strong here at Texas World. It's great to see. But Onjak, when he took the lead, that is an example of a perfect corner. Just turns 1 and 2, he nailed it. He was just able to blow by both cars, and now he's able to open up a little bit of a gap so far as they're scrapping for second. But can you exactly recreate that every lap? No, but if you can do it at the right time, it could win you the race.
And as we said, it's a momentum-based racetrack. If you check up even once coming through the corners, you just saw Alex Benyako just lost 2 spots to the 48 and 5 and a bit of time there too. He's going to fall maybe a couple car lengths back. This track, it's not full throttle. It's not like Michigan or Auto Club where you can just kind of let off the gas. With how abrasive the surface is, how rough it is on the tires, you actually got to apply a little bit of brake just to make these corners, and it makes for a pretty entertaining race, but you got to hit those braking points perfectly, because if the guy behind you doesn't hit that braking point perfectly or has a later one than you, he can go soaring by you or right into the back of you, as you see Curtis all over the back of Jefferson. It's going to be tough. You got to be on your toes, as Jay, I think, wants to do another Indy 500 move, try to make that spot as Foster, really bad coming off the corner, and walks right up into the wall.
You just have to hope the toe isn't knocked out of that car, or might have a tire rub or something. That was a really hard hit for the 40. But now Jefferson opened up the door just a little bit. Curtis said, thank you, I'll stroll right in. But now Reed with the run off the corner. Porta checks up there 3 wide through the D oval.
And as we said, momentum. Porta's just going to lose a ton of time there. Jefferson's going to gain a ton, shoot right to the inside on him as Benyako looked right to the inside of DJ Curtis. I don't think it's going to happen there, but now Jay Jefferson and the Lowe's for Pros number 48 is going to take that second spot away, and now he gets to chase down his old championship rival, the biggest rival of his career probably, and Peter Onjak in the 44, and we saw this a lot last season, but Peter, at Texas World, he wasn't one of the guys up front. It was Carson Bowers up front for Onj Auto, but I think, you share that data and you share that speed, and Peter wants to get another crown jewel in his crown in this 44 as he pulls out into the race lead. 18 of 100, now 19 laps in. We're going to take a quick look. Some pretty severe damage to the side of that 40 car, and that's just how it is. It's kind of like a Darlington track, a rough course. You got to hit your marks right, and if you just try to push off coming through the turn number 2 a ton, you might end up into the wall. Irving Allison's visited it twice, and Austin Murray, as we said, there they go, and there goes the 24, slide into the inside wall, and now Murray, they save it. Please do not come back up on track, Murray, or keep it slow. He's going to come back up on track right between everyone.
He's lucky. He's very lucky. That could have been disastrous. Oh, that's disastrous. Oh, my God.
Danny Lloyd. Oh, Rose Henson's in it. Lloyd is upside down. Duncan's in it with the 0-3. And now that is the big damage here at Texas World. A big crash. Who's at the back there? Someone's at the right. Eli Bright had an issue earlier. Jeff Alloway's now done. William Duncan's done. Rose Henson's done. And that's what it is, just in the middle of this race. A long time in this race to go, but you got to be wary. You got to be watching because anything can happen, and that is a big one. At a track like this, a heavy hit. We'll have to make sure that Danny Lloyd is okay, as well as Austin Murray. You see the 03, the 86 driving around as well. Jeff Alloway torn up. William Duncan completely torn up. And Rose Henson, her bid for the 1,100 miles will come to a close right there. But we're coming down pit road for some pit stops.
I don't understand what his thought process is. I guess if you get off the gas in the grass, you might lose it anyways. But if you're just gonna keep the foot to the floor and drive straight up into a field of cars, it's irresponsible.
And yeah, you're in the grass, of course. You're in the grass. It's hard to slow down on grass, but it's not hard to just lock it down when you're spinning sideways and just give up. That's what Murray should have done, just locked it down. He'd still be in this race if he just kept it slow down there, but he will not be as they come down. It's a 4-tire call for everyone. On Jack and Jefferson going to be leading us out. So those guys that came down and topped off on fuel, looks like their strategy's going out the window. And Matty Porta's race going out the window as well. A very close call between the 63 and 16 right there coming off of pit road. Cloud and Foster going to be together. I'm sure the 40 and 16, a bit of an extended stop to repair that after their hits into the wall. Of course, Irving was in that crash just now. We'll also have to see what happened to Eli Bright. He was a bit far off the pace. I don't know if he spun or what. But we'll go ahead and bring us back to the action here at the Lowe's for Pros 600 right after this. So Austin Murray has a big move here. Irving Allison's going to jump to the inside. It might have upset the car a little bit. He tried to gas it up, and it's going to go right into the wall, bounces right off and across Irving Allison. Now Irving does a great job saving it. So does Murray, but he doesn't lock it down. He just drives through the grass. Now he's trying to get back up on track. You know, you race back to the line, and that's not really going to change. We haven't seen too many problematic things, but he just comes straight back up. I don't know why you're gassing it through the grass. Slides back down, and Danny Lloyd has nowhere to go. Right into the back of the 24. Same with Rose Henson. Duncan had nowhere as well. Good thing, though, the 61, it does appear Danny Lloyd should be all right. He climbed out of the race car, just threw his headrest down in frustration, but we'll go ahead and get a couple other angles of this crash.
While we watch the 61 of Danny Lloyd see this incident transpire, you see Eli Bright's going to get the wall back here. That's what happened to him. He caught the wall and caught the 0-3, but Lloyd sees this 24 and is panicking, hits the outside wall, is now going to be sliding down the racetrack. Lloyd trying to keep it down, just carries too much speed, got loose, just chase it up the hill a little bit, right to the 24. And Alloway, nowhere to go, goes nearly underneath the 61. That could have been a really scary accident, a few feet differently on either side. But Lloyd climbed out. Everyone should be all right after this one, although some people won't be happy and some people are a little shaken up.
Well, on board with Stephen Wallace Jr. here in the 65, a front row seat to this entire lap. You see Eli Bright just ahead is going to be the one bouncing off the wall. The spin's already happened. You see Murray in the grass way further up. There's Eli, just slows down, gets by Eli. At least the 8's still in the race. Now you see Murray way up there cleaning out himself and a ton of cars. But watch Stephen Wallace Jr. as the C's absolutely part in front of him. Gets through it. Cars flipping, crashing behind him. And SWJ makes it out unscathed.
So we will step aside underneath this long cleanup period at Texas World. Austin Murray gets into the outside wall, spins it down the racetrack, and thinks he has it saved, gets back into the gas, but unfortunately comes right up the track and takes out some of our drivers running at the back of the field. About 20 laps complete here from Texas World. We will see you after these messages.
Back live here at Texas World after a pretty big crash brought us under a lengthy caution period with a bit of a red flag situation. Just a brief red flag to clean up the cars off of turn number 3. Peter Onjak's your race leader over Jay Jefferson, Anderson Reed, Cody Goforth, Alex Banyako, Matthew Eves, Brandon Morris, Max Anderson, Zachary DeLello, and Colton Lane. Couple big losers on those pit stops, though. Matty Porta, Roger Ray, DJ Curtis. As well, Tib Foster, Irving Allison, they repaired their cars under pit road, so that's why they lost a bunch of time. But those guys now sitting at the back, so Tibb's going to have to drive through the field. So will Logan Cloud, Irving Allison, who have some fast cars today. A couple other cars up front, though, including Colton Lane, Zachary DeLello, Max Anderson with big gains. But mostly that top 5 appears to be roughly what was up in the front. It's going to be Onjak and Jefferson leading us down, though, coming around to about the quarter mark through this race.
Well, let's see what can we do on this restart. 2 Dodges in front, but it's been a very good showing from Chevy today as well. Onjak leads us down. We'll get the green in just a few seconds. It's a good start from the 2 Dodges.
I see everyone making moves further back. We've seen a lot in the last few races across series. The short tracks are pretty rough to restart on. You see a lot of issues with that, but a good thing about a big track, you basically stay single file and you drive straight on up, then you start making those moves, and that's what you saw as the whole field came down the front straightaway. Butcher going to get a piece of the wall further back there as Jefferson now is shoving Onjak into the corner, wants to win the Lowe's for Pros 600 with the Lowe's for Pros car, and he's all over the back of Onjak right now. Morris taking a spot further up there, trying to get up into the top 10, or top 5 is that 55 car who's won 4 races this season. Coming down the front straightaway, 2, 3, maybe some 4 wide at the back, and that is with Kukulon once again. Real aggressive on the starts and restarts. This 19 car is being a hassle today as Colton Lane is door banging Matty Porta into turn 1.
I mean, Monster Motorsports, the situation is interesting. You've got 6 drivers this season, and all 6 of them have been running pretty good for themselves. Who's going to be the odd man out when it comes to silly season in just a few weeks' time? Because they're likely going to have to scale down to 5 cars. And is somebody going to change their number then? Because I don't think Yepes is going to relinquish that 77 to not have it on the grid.
That's a big thing for next season as well, and a lot of things that these teams have to worry about and look at this year. You got TSR, they have 5 cars this year. You see Bright, Butcher, and Spurley all struggling this year. But do they have prospects that would want to take those cars? As Banyako, he did not hit the wall. He got real close to it, though, in that 83. As Cody Goforth also, shout out to the 17 running up here. But that's one thing that these teams are going to have to worry about, especially with their satellite operations next season as well. Could you see Monster Motorsports as satellite for next season? I forget which one it is because they've changed one every single year. But they might get that 6th car and run a Monster Motorsports driver. You never know what will happen. As you see, Monster Motorsports is Anderson Reed. He's going at it with Onjak. And Reed is a big track guy. He has some success this season on the short tracks, but he's a big track guy at heart and a dirt track racer. But that's not this track. So he's going to take that spot away from Peter Onjak. And here comes Jefferson. You see that momentum swing. JJ is going to get that run back to the inside of the 44. Onjak has to recover.
Had a bit of tailwind going down turn 1 or something. I cannot believe the run that Anderson Reed had down there in the turn 1 to take this race lead. But Jefferson looking to follow. I mean, the draft is important here. They're side by side for second. Looks like everybody calming down as we're a few laps into the restart. But Onjak stepping low underneath, wants it back. Side by side into 1.
That's the thing that's real different, makes the NSDCA real special. 100 laps in this race. You got a lot of time left. Eve's going to be the one bouncing off the wall that time. But you got a lot of time left in this race. We're just barely a quarter of the way through, and these guys are fighting for the race lead like there's 5 to go. all these points matter. Bonus points matter in the grand scheme of things. Being out front matters because that is a caution. And Austin Johnson is upside down. Ryan Butcher and Eric Monaco also involved. And we're hoping that Johnson will be okay. Jefferson leads us back around. Onjak and Reed second and third. Goforth Morris, your top 5. We got a big one down in turn number 2. Ryan Butcher also damaged in that one in the Gatorade Blue, number 88, as he's going to bring that car back around. Looks like Monaco could not bring that car back around. KGM, boss Casey Mears had a pretty good run at the Indy 500, but it doesn't look like their 07 is going to. And Johnson ended up upside down. They're trying to get him out of the car right now, and we'll see. Maybe will we go back to yet another round of yellow flag pit stops. And it looks like the field might be diverging. Cody Goforth possibly staying out. A couple guys further back staying out. Looks like Eves might be coming in. Going to have the camera stop right there. Eves was the one that kind of clipped the wall coming through, so he might be trying to repair as well. That's a different strategy, so that could be a big thing to get you into victory lane. Also looks like the 87 of Antoine Smith is going to bring it on down as well. So we're going to get a quick replay, see what happened to Austin Johnson. Now he got upside down at 51 car.
I'm shocked here. None of these guys in the back, if you're like 20th on back and nothing's happening with your race, you pit at this caution because you don't know how the rest of this is going to go. So, some of those drivers back there could have just lost a chance at this win, in my opinion. I think the field made a mistake, some of them not pitting at this opportunity.
I could see it. Fuel window we've seen was about 55 laps, which is still, this is 70 laps in, but you take tires now. Maybe caution comes out in 10 laps, more people come in, now you pick up more spots.
It's less fuel you got to take.
That's true too. That speeds up your pit stop. Plus, if you pit now, I wouldn't say you should do it. Maybe go for and risk a fuel-only stop at the end. You'd have 20 laps is a lot on tires. Let's not be joking about that, but you could save, it's about 35 pit stop, probably 35 seconds for a pit stop, maybe more just coming down pit road. You probably go a lap down coming down pit road. So you could have a lap on the field and just try to nurse the tires home and at least maybe get a good finish because as Peter said, teams like maybe well, there's a lot of good teams back here, but the 81 team of Alex Peters this week, the 87 probably not going to be near the front. You come down pit road and you top off. Antoine did, but the 81 didn't. Top off on fuel, get some new tires. Could be a big strategy call in this event. But we're going to go ahead now, get that quick replay as they have got Austin Johnson out of the car in that 51. We'll get an update on his condition after this, but we got to take a look at this wreck real quick, see what happened to Austin Johnson.
3-wide action here at Texas World goes all wrong. You see Austin Johnson, Ryan Butcher, Eric Monaco working together. These are the three that are going to be in the incident. Monaco sails it in on the high side, trying to find grip, clears these two, but unfortunately runs out of real estate. Tries to keep it off the wall, but Butcher's there, and they hit the wall with tremendous force. And you see the 51 got sandwiched with the concrete in the 88 and went for a massive tumble here at Texas World.
Taking another angle of this, one thing to note, Monaco kept it off the wall, but Butcher just came off the corner thinking he could tuck in behind the 07, got together. Now, this is one point where we are thankful for the Spurley cage in these cars. Both drivers have been taken. They are taken to the local area hospital for help, but both drivers should be all right, though probably some severe pain after hitting a wall that hard, especially with Johnson flipping. Thankfully, though, of course, flipping much safer than just coming to a complete stop. Dissipates a lot of energy. We're under caution for the second time today here at Texas World. A big crash. Or third time today here at Texas World. Big crash down on the back straightaway. Coming back around, we're getting ready to go back racing as they come off of turn number 4. 2 cars behind the wall. That's the 07 and the 51. Meanwhile, Ryan Butcher continues out on track. Sebastian Kugel on a flat tire under caution, pacing around, brings him down pit road. So maybe that is the strategy call. We'll see, but they're going to be on an alternate strategy now. Up front, your top 5, a normal group of Auto, TSR, Monster, and BGM. Green flags back in the air. 32 of 100 complete here at Texas World.
for the lead. 44 peeking out. Anderson Reed's going to the top side, trying to help Jay Jefferson get his mid-corner run. Colton Lane getting really close back there with, I think, the 12 of Max Anderson as we work through. Carter Friesen's poked his way into the top 10. Nice to see that, as Goforth possibly setting up a move down into turn 3. Does not have the distance, backs off.
But Anderson Reed has the distance and the momentum to the top. Jefferson a little slow on the bottom. Is going to open the door for the 3. On Jack now looking to the very bottom. Coming off the corner. 32 cars left in this race, and they're all going for it here at Texas World. Down the front straightaway. Look at Carson Bowers, Carter Friesen inside the top 10. Looking for top 5 runs. Yepes and DeLello. Brady Burkhart charging through the field. Ton of cars in this looking for the race lead and possibly a race win here today. But now up in front once again. Now On Jack coming right back after Reed, looking to the bottom. Jefferson with the momentum, doesn't want to go help the 44, so he stays right between both of them. But we're seeing a battle for the lead as the 48 is going to push On Jack to the point.
I mean, this is why the fans love the NSDCA. They love this non-stop action. They love the racing quality that these Cup bodies produce. I mean, they're not the best looking eyes of some of the fans, but they do put on a show when it comes to the racing. Jefferson looking back on the bottom for second.
And Anderson Reed.
Jack walks it up the hill. Look out.
Did you see the push Reed gave On Jack heading into turn 1? He might have gotten into the back of him and shoved him wide, and that's going to open the door for defending Texas World winner Jay Jefferson to the inside, fighting On Jack for that second position. Jay, of course, is the king of Richmond. He's won there 3 times, has a ton of laps led. He's looking to start a King of Texas if he can win here today, as now Anderson Reed's going to jump for second, right back to the inside of On Jack. And the way this is working, this is looking like some Indy 500 racing here. The draft, the slingshot, they're all working together and making some moves here that are really exciting to watch. And even still, we're not even halfway through this race yet. Hopefully, if we can keep it clean, we can start ticking off some laps. But now you see Ben Yacco looking to the outside of Morris. You got Friesen and Bowers back there. Diego Yepes for GDI. Got a ton of cars still in this race. 32 on the lead lap. 31 that have not been in damage. It looks like Butcher is the one off the pace. But we're seeing some great action here. Not even halfway into this event yet.
Not wasting any time as that 44 didn't even get out of the corner, and he's already looking underneath Anderson Reed for second to take it back. But top 10 pretty much getting strung out here. Hopefully field settling down. I mean, toward the back, they're still pretty close to one another. And side by side there for second. As we look back, here's Daniel Cobbs stuck in the middle. Matty Porta, DJ Curtis, they're not going forward anything. Tripping over my words. Not going forward after their slow pit stops early. You see Dusty Neal still making up ground. That's still pretty good, all things considered, after what was a horrendous qualifying time of the 94. I think there might have been a problem on the lap or something, but looks like Yepes falling back on the high side in the 35.
And here we go again.
Sending it.
And here we go again. Please. If you're going to crash, this is the worst point to do it too, as it's down into turn 2, which is already giving you enough problems going 2 and single file. DeLello and Curtis, though, were real smart on that. Let them go, and that's going to allow Burkhart to slide on through. DeLello, a pretty safe driver in that 57. The only thing I really remember him getting upset at was last season at Memphis when he turned Austin Murray after Murray turned him. But he's running nicely, and he gave all that room to those guys. And look, he's even going to try to take that spot back on Hagan, not in a 4-wide run this time, but with this pack behind you, everyone trying to get up to the front as fast as you can. You got Foster back there, and oh, look at that, Kukulon in the 19, who's been throwing it aggressive this time already. Now Foster to the inside on Cloud, Kobza, and Porta. 4 wide ain't going to work, fellas. Please drop it down. It looks like Kobza is going to be the smart one there in the 04, not trying to rip the lip this time. Middle of a 4-wide situation. Coming off the corner, there they go. Roger Ray has fallen like a rock. So is Irving Allison, hasn't really recovered from that opening pit stop. Neither has Riley Spurleytube. Looking at the back, though, there's Ryan Butcher in the 88. He is definitely off the pace. 32nd, though, as we got a battle for the lead. It's On Jack and Jefferson.
I'll go back to Zachary DeLello real quickly. I do remember an incident he wasn't too happy about was Road America earlier this season. Just heartbreaking to lose that race. I think that was when he was in the pink BWT machine. But I mean, stuck here in the mid pack. We can go back up to the front now as On Jack and Jefferson, 2 title fighters. They fought each other for 2. They fought each other for 3 titles now. Do we see them coming around at Kansas this season? fighting each other once again. We'll have to wait and see. It hasn't been the best of seasons for either of them. I don't think Jefferson's won a race. I know Onjak has not. I think the only one to win out of either team so far would be Tim Foster, right, at Willow Springs.
Foster won for Andrade at Willow Springs. Jay Jefferson won last week at Pocono after a dominant performance.
Goodness, I'm sorry.
But that is all right. Jay probably happy just to hear that. It's been Yakko. Whoa! Bounces it off the wall, keeps it saved.
Both sides at 83 are now beaten up.
I think he hit the 55 coming back across. I know a lot of fans are probably happy, but it doesn't look like the 55 has too much damage. Man, Ben Yakko, that is masterful driving, keeping it clean, though. Again, with Murray and the last incident, too, with Monaco, there's not really much you can do when you're running out of room and you have people underneath you. You're going to hit them. But what a save by the 83 of Ben Yakko there. And that's going to probably cost him. It's going to cost him a ton of time, him and Morris. You see they've lost a ton of time to the front now, as it looks like Onjak Jefferson going back at it, as Goforth Reed go at it further back. But Alex Benyako in that 83, he kept it clean, he kept it straight, so he's still in the race for SBR. And it's side damage. It's going to affect the cornering a bit, but maybe it won't be too bad coming off of these corners and going down the straightaways. He might still be able to run in the draft, as now Neal going 3 wide with Curtis and Hagen back there.
Hey, I mean, if it's just beaten in, if there's nothing sticking out really, that's less air getting out of the car down the sides. So, might even improve it a little, but I'm sure they will be fixing it under the caution. Don't want to risk any rubs or anything. Up at the front, I mean, as we watch this battle, Jefferson knows how to put on a battle. We saw it at the MDCS I-69 race with Anderson Reed. Onjak knows how to put on a battle. We saw a great one at Chicagoland last season here in the Cup Series. So, with these two fighting it out, this could be another one for the ages here in the NSDCA.
And this could be a big storyline, too. Onjak, Jefferson, champions of the sport. Anderson Reed, even a champion of the sport. So you got a Cup champion and 2 Mountain Dew Custom Series champs. And you got a driver with 0 wins in the Cup Series or in the NSDCA in general. And Cody Goforth come up so close so many times. And he's up here fighting with the big dogs, thinking that maybe he is the reason that's 17 slow. I don't think so. He's been up front. He's been...
Commentators curse strikes again. Wow. I have nothing to say about that. It's it's unbelievable the luck that Cody Goforth has had this season, and what do you know, as soon as it steps out into the conversation, it strikes again.
As we said, Cody Goforth is not the problem with this team. It's got to be, I don't know if it's internals at BGM, with Toyota, something. But that's 17. He's been caught up in crashes, yeah, but he's had a ton of mechanical failures. He and Jefferson have both been struggling with that this year, and that just sums up the season right there. I was praising him. I was saying he's going to be the one fighting these guys for the race win here, possibly up front, just like he did at Auto Club, and just like at Auto Club, it blows up in smoke, and I don't know what you can say there. There's some action on track, but that is just heartbreaking for the driver of the 17. And Yepes is 4th. Okay, we'll move on a little bit. Yepes in 4th, having a great day for GDI with that strategy. But again, now BGM's down to Morris because Irving's in the back. No one wants to see the 55 win again. It's been 4 races this season that he's won. He's the king of the Cup Series so far in that 55. Chasing that points lead if he can get around Onjak and Kukulon, but now it's basically the Lone Ranger for Morris because Irving Allison, he has pace to run, but it looks like whatever happened on that pit stop and when he smacked the wall, it looks like that car is not handling well for the 16.
Brady Burkhardt broke the pattern up there. We had the 35, 25, 85, and 55 all battling one another, but now it is just 3 of those drivers. I mean, the 3 Dodges. Diego Yepes stepped into this 35 just a few weeks into the season, and it's giving it the love that it might deserve. I mean, Austin Johnson wasn't doing a whole lot, and neither has Yepes until today, but finally clicking with the Kentucky-operated team. I believe that's where GDI is out of. the Cracker Barrel, the old country machine of Diego Yepes finally getting a good run. And I mean, a run like this could propel him into the top 30 of owners' points for this car.
And yeah, you see it. You see owners' points, of course, different from regular points. Yepes currently is 18th in the standings. The 35 car currently is outside of the top 30 in the standings. I think it's 31st or 32nd. That's because Austin Johnson drove races before. It didn't really shine. And again, as Peter said, it doesn't really shine now. Yepes is a great driver, but even the best drivers can't win Cup Series races in mediocre equipment. And really, there's no change in it. 35 isn't the best car on the grid. It's not up here with the likes of SBR, BGM, TSR, and the like, but they can punch above their weight, just like Sauber Racing Team back here with Carter Friesen. Both of them right now in the top 5, having great days. His lane's going to bounce off the wall a little bit there. And give a shout out. Here he comes, and look a little further back. 2 drivers that fought their way through the field at Pocono and now fighting their way at Texas World. Sebastian Kukulon, who's just made a spot on Hagen. That's for the, I believe, 7th position. And Dusty Neal fighting just outside the top 10.
I mean, Kukulon has really come out of his shell these past few seasons. He was an everybody driver. He wasn't somebody. I'd say until last season when he got an opportunity with the Sauber Racing Team truck operation at number 20. He won a race or two, finally broke through. I mean, he did have a good debut season here in the NSDCA with Red Bull ages ago, but I mean, that's now Rockstar Energy Racing. They haven't really done anything outside of that season with Sebi. But now that he's at Shade Burkhardt Racing, he opened up the season by storm, winning the first 2 races. And I mean, he's shown his speed, he's shown his talent. I mean, he's come through the field not only at Pocono, but here today at Texas World as well. 2 of the biggest racetracks. I mean, at a short track, it's easy to come through the field. You just got to sit on the inside line at half of them. But at tracks like this, where it's just about draft and raw pace, he has it. And, I mean, Sebi is definitely a championship favorite.
He's leading the points right now, tied with Onjak. Now, Onjak has the better average finish, but the first tiebreaker is race wins. Onjak with none, Kukulon with 2. Speaking of Onjak, we're going back up front, just showing you he's now opened up about a 2-second gap over Anderson Reed. Jay Jefferson a little further behind, now 2.5. Friesen up in 4th, Burkhardt in 5th with Kukulon. And we've been waiting. He came out swinging at the beginning of the season. Then they went to road courses. You had Monster Motorsports on Giotto to sneak some wins there. Then it was the Morris dominance of the short tracks. So now we're seeing the big tracks. Jefferson won Pocono. He didn't win Auto Club, had a good car at Auto Club. He did not win Auto Club. That was Morris. So now, will Sebi be able to get back into victory lane? He had a strong season, but now is everyone starting to wise up to him? I don't think so, because he has charged through the field 2 weeks in a row. From the back of the grid to the front, having a great day there. As you see Yepes starting to fade. And Neal, as we come across the line, it looks like he's gotten around Curtis. So he's 11th, and that's something you don't see out of CFRO is big track pace. Morris going to make it 3 wide on Bowers. No, he's going to back out of it. But that's something you don't see out of CFRO is big track pace. Eves was up here. He came down pit road, repaired some of that car, plus topped off on fuel. And Bowers, whoa, man, that went straight on for the outside wall in the 25. It's a very difficult track to run here. Looking like Darlington out here with everyone getting stripes. But that's just the fear you got to drive with is, you know, you hit the wall, you might lose maybe less momentum than you do letting off of the gas. And see, Bowers didn't even lose a spot, and he's about to come back on Hagen right there.
I'm worried we might need a tire test or something. It's so hot, I'm not sure if the tires are really sticking enough, especially on the loads that they have to carry through these corners. And maybe that's what's really catching some of these guys out, especially down in turn 2, where they just don't have the grip. I mean, the track surface is so hot. You'd think it's just the grip is just out of it, because cooler you get, the more grip there is. Do we need to go back to the olden days like Charlotte and have the 600 miles at night? Well, somebody's got to pay for the lights around Texas World. That's the situation we find ourselves in. As Yepes, no speed in the corner. Morris just flies in that 55.
Looked like Yepes was coming down to pit road, how slow he was going. Looking at this, I want to give a shout out. I saw this very bright car of Antoine Smith. Remember, he came down under that last caution, topped off on fuel, He's made his way back up into the top 25 right now, just outside the top 20. Actually, he's 18th, so he picked up a couple spots that during that last lap. But this 87's charging through the field, having a great day so far for Antoine, keeping it clean and charging his way up. And give a shout out to Joseph Strigley right now, running with the big powerhouse Chevy team in Monster Motorsports, fighting with Lane DeLello and the 77 of Logan Cloud and Foster back there as well. But great day for the 63 car here at Texas World. Looking a bit further back, though, just checking the second group, looks like Spurley Tube, Max Anderson. This is definitely some of the slower cars in the grid, not necessarily the slower drivers, but the slower cars. Looks like they're in a pack just behind that main one. And you got a couple of the other guys that have been involved in incidents today. There's the 81, and just as we saw Onjak starting to catch up to lap traffic, there's Ryan Butcher just ahead of him.
Onjak has set sail on this field. I mean, Anderson Reed running comfortably in second, Jay Jefferson comfortably in third. They could get up to one another if Jefferson closes in these next few laps. The top 10, at least the top 5, is all spread out. It's nice to see now some green flag action, let the race play out a little bit more naturally, as we got Carter Friesen looking underneath the 99 of Brady Burkhart. Two veterans which, compared to some of the other Season 1 drivers, have gotten the short end of the stick in their careers. But Brady's contended for titles. Carter, not exactly. But, I mean, they're still very strong drivers, the both of them.
As we've said a lot this season, this will be Friesen's last season. Joining Zachary Fitzwater as another of the Season 1 debutants, the initial 23 drivers that made the starts in the inaugural season of the NSDCA. Another two that are going to be retiring. Burkhart was in the championship fight last season, won the regular season title, and Indianapolis. Did not do much anything else after that, except for a Talladega win. Friesen only has 2 wins in their career. Got one last season at Atlanta, which could end up being their final win. The NSDCA. They've had great runs this year. I think the Sauber Racing team really has a good car this year for this 85 team. But I don't know if he has enough really to make it to the end and make it into the chase. They're right now 13th, but 0 wins means they're not in on the wild card, though Alex Beniaco currently in on the wild card in the 11th spot, as you see Onjak going right by Butcher. Butcher should definitely be keeping, 181, 200. Yeah, Butcher is definitely met minimum speed. We should have checked that earlier, but he is there as we got Beniaco on pit road. Looks like that might be a scheduled stop for Beniaco. Or maybe the car was just handling.
Maybe. I mean, he's got a ton of damage. They could have just said it's getting a little too close. Maybe they saw some smoke coming out. They did not want to risk. It looks like they are taking their time to repair damage. That's for sure. So it could not be a massive undercut for the 83, but we'll have to see how this plays out, I guess. But he might go a lap down here, if not 2. Because he already 1 down, right? Yeah.
We will see when he comes out. It's a big track. I think going down for that repair would probably put you a lap down. The ticker has not updated yet. Of course, oh, yes, he is 1 lap down. So he will go 2 down here. So you probably definitely lose 1 lap pitting under green. I'd say that's probably an assured thing with that long pit road. So we'll see. Again, 40 laps to go. The fuel window has opened. These guys came in on what? About lap 20, meaning we're about 15 laps away from seeing these guys up front coming down pit road, as you got Jefferson Reed fighting there. There's Kukulon, Burkhart, Friesen, Morris, Hagan, Curtis, Bowers, your top 10. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Bring guys back to the action here at the Lowe's for Pros 600 here at Texas World. We'll see if we go green the rest of the way, but we will be back in time for pit stops. Peter Onjak out to the races, dominating so far, 4.5 seconds. For Anderson Reed, Jay Jefferson, Sebastian Kukulon, and Brady Burkhart.
Welcome back to coverage of the Lowe's Pro 600 here, Texas World. You see the gaps. Onjak pulling away over the 3 and 48. Battle for second has tightened up here. Carson Bowers come to pit lane underneath the caution, or commercial break, excuse me, goodness. Similar situation to Alex Beniaco, had to repair some damage after that heavy wall contact, just could not keep going with the damage underneath this long green flag run. You see the 0-4 coming down. Cobbs has some damage on the side as well. Not as bad, but definitely has to repair it. So tough break for some of the Onj Auto cars as we have another driver on pit road. This might be starting the cycle. Cobbs may have came down. That might not be damage repair. We've got the 81. Carter Friesen on pit road. The caution is out, and this changes everything. Spurley is damaged, and season has gone bad for worse for the 28.
Oh, Stephen Wallace Jr. too snuck through that first bigger incident. Doesn't get it here. Gotta wonder if maybe they were trying to come down pit road. Looked like it was down in turn 4. Might have been something coming down pit road. Preparing up there. But here comes the field, so they've taken the caution. Antoine Smith is top 10, by the way, in that 87. Larry, please do not pit like Eves last week, okay? So those guys, they came down before pit road closed. So they...
That'd be Kobza, Friesen, and Colton Lane I also saw on pit road.
That's good for them, but the question is, you know, the leaders didn't take the yellow, so they got to come back around. I wonder if they lapped the 60 and 85 while they were on pit road. No matter what, you'll be able to get the wave around. Maybe it'll be the first time as like an actual wave around here that we've seen. But that's another car torn up, and that is pretty much most likely going to take the 28 out of the owner's top 30 in owner's points. So that might be the third TSR guy having to go on that. Now the field's going to come on in, and this is it right here. This is your money stop. You want to get the track position here. The benefit is it's under caution, so you're not going to lose that time. Onjack's probably not too happy about that. It's going to lose him his 4.5 second lead as the whole field also comes on in. Take a quick look back. Make sure, yeah, Friesen and Benyako there. There's Lane. So I think those guys will be having to take the wave around. We'll figure out who does get the Fago free pass here as they go, but we'll go ahead and take a look at Anderson Reed going to his pit stop with all these guys coming down pit road. Great camera angle here, just like Pocono, some great camera angles at this track. Got a straight on shot of pit road as everyone goes. It's 4 tires and fuel. Now's the time to repair if you're going to. Burkhart is going to pick up a ton of time. Jefferson and Onjack real close, and Anderson Reed's going to beat Onjack out of pit road in the 3. I think that's the timing line, and Anderson Reed might have just taken the race lead away from Onjack.
I was watching the 44 personally, and they were very slow on the transition from the right side to the left, so I think that's where they lost their time. But boy, Brady must have had a good stop to jump them, as we will sort out scoring. So coming off of pit road, it should be 3:43, 48, 44, 99, 19. And then we got Matty Porta, DJ Curtis looking like they're going to pick up some positions back there as well. Oh, Onjack beat Jefferson out. Okay. Brandon Morris, Larry Hagan, Dusty Neal as well. So is Bowers pitting again? Or are they just trying to sort themselves out? I'm not exactly sure what the field's doing right now. Butcher will be pitting, though, this time by. He's a lap car, and lap cars pit the next lap after. Bowers is definitely pitting again. I'm not sure if he's got a problem or what.
We'll see with that 25. Not too sure. Would have gotten the wave around because the 81, 04, 83, 60, they're going to get the wave around 24. Butcher, I think, will get the free pass. We'll see, of course, after this. We'll get a quick replay and come back and wave all these guys around who is. But it is Anderson Reed out in front, Onjack, Jefferson, Burkhart, and Kugel on your top 5. Let's see what happened to Spurley Tube and SWJ in turn 3. Watching Spurley Tube here. Don't know what goes wrong with the 28, but it's going to go straight up and into the wall. Bounces off the wall. Now he's in the grass trying to save it. And maybe it's something with the grass. Maybe there's just no brakes in the grass because the 28, he's trying to get back on track. He tries to slow it down and just Stephen Wallace Jr. hits him. And that's not as big a hit as I thought it was when the 28 was sitting there smoking and out with the 65 and 28. They kind of just nosed it in, but it just hit at the right angle to blow both the cars up. So more carnage, more crashes, 2 more cars torn up here at Texas World. Going to be about 30 laps to go when we go back racing here at Texas World. Out in front is the number 3 of Anderson Reed, Peter Onjack 2nd, Jay Jefferson 3rd, Brady Burkhart 4th, and Sebastian Kugel on 5th. Matty Porta 6th, Curtis 7th, Hagan 8th, Neal 9th, and Yepes in 10th. DeLello, Edson, Cloud, Ray, Srigley, Antoine Smith, Max Anderson, Eves, Foster, Bright, Irving, Allison, Carter Friesen, Colton Lane, Alex Benyako, Daniel Kobza, and Carson and Ryan Butcher on the lead lap. Ryan Butcher I think, yeah, he will be on the lead lap. Got that free pass. Bowers 1 lap down, so would be the free pass recipient. The 55, though, was on pit road. An engine issue. They had the hood up under caution. Put it back down, sent him back out, so he might be able to continue on. Don't know how fast he'll be. We're getting ready to go back racing here at Texas World.
No worrying about pit stops. It's going to be an all-out dogfight. Anderson, Reed, Peter Ojak, Jay Jefferson, they've been the fastest 3 today. What can they get done? Kukulon's been fast as well. Brady Burkhart, Matty Porta, DJ Curtis looking to bounce back. Dusty Neal's carved his way through the field as well. Well, all we can say is those are the players, and let's see how things transpire here as we go back to green with 30 to go in the Lowe for Pros 600.
Pretty orderly restart. Top 4 single file and pushing away as Kukulon didn't get a great start. Hagen to the inside of Curtis back there. Reed gets a shove through the corner, puts the pedal to the metal in that 3, takes off up to the front. Let's see how clean we get through turn number 2 this time, and we do, it appears, on that restart. Couple cars off the pace. Looks like Butcher's already slow. The 04, I don't know if the 81 had an issue or not. It's been slow all race as Bowers now looking to the inside of Benyako. Bowers might be trying to get that car back up and pass manually as Onjak now has lost a spot to Jefferson. Burkhart got real close to him as here comes the Toyota Power SBRs. Burkhart and Kukulon charging to the front as Jay Jefferson. He knows that those Toyotas are fast. He wants to get out of Dodge quick if he can get around the number 3.
I mean, slow, stop. Oh my God. Stop on the slower side for the 44 and on the slower side for the restart as well, slipping back to 3rd. But now you have Curtis challenging ahead of Porta. Maybe the Monster Motorsports duo can try and reach up to their teammate Anderson Reed out front as Brady gets forced high, but the inside checks up. That's gonna help Jefferson more than anything. Try and run that 3 car back down.
Monster Motorsports carrying the momentum. Here comes Curtis and Porta. You guys better not even make it 5 wide heading into that corner, Porta. Thank you for not diving to the inside of Curtis. And DJ's going for it. He hasn't won in a Cup Series race. He hasn't won in 2 years of NSDCA competition. His last win coming in the Truck Series for Monster Motorsports. He's fighting up towards the front, trying to win this one. Matty Porta back there as well. DeLello, with all of the attrition, with all of the crashes we've seen, I think all 6 Monster Motorsports cars are still running on track and still all up front. You got Reed right now leading the race. Curtis, Porta inside the top 10. DeLello's right there. Logan Cloud's right there. And I'm missing one more. Colton Lane near the back. He's 23rd.
He would have
but
been
still
up there if he didn't pit right when the caution fell. So that's really not of his own doing.
The Monster Motorsports, if they lose this race, that could be a major upset. The only players I think that could stop them are the guys that are up front right now. Reed, Jefferson, well, Reed's on Monster, so Jefferson, Onjak, and Kukulon. I don't know if the 99 has the pace. I'm not sure if Dusty Neal couldn't win this race. He has charged through the field a ton, up to 7th. That would be, even though he's won a race before and you see Jefferson going at it, if Dusty Neal wins this race, I don't care what you say, that's an upset for CFRO to take one at the biggest track of the season. But they already have a Crown Jewel event in the Truck Series. Of course, they won the Crown Royal 300 in their part-time schedule back in Season 2 with the 94 car.
I mean, Neal and Kukulon, by just getting up through the field already, I mean, they're definitely in contentions for the Driver of the Day poll. I mean, a lot of people don't really think about the Driver of the Day poll as much anymore. I mean, Jeff Alloway, I think, won the poll once or twice already, and he's only made like 3 starts. But they're putting together a great performance today. And I don't know, maybe even if they don't win this race, but if they can stay in the top 10, top 5, I think that will still be a victory after some very poor qualifying run.
Another driver I just noticed on the ticker who has had a great day now, great recovery, Max Anderson up to 10th. Especially after the news, there's a possibility Ford could be losing Rockstar Energy Racing next season. It is said that they are going to be in an alliance partnership with the new Daytona Motorsports, which is a merger between Luke Evans Incorporated and Mac Johnson Motorsports, MJ Motorsports. And that could be moving RER to Dodge, or Chevy, I should say, to Chevrolet, back to what they were before they were RER. So what you're looking at now is it's possibly Gemini and ZR would be the only 2 Ford teams left, with Ford Performance Racing really, as the other teams at Ford, I think Extreme Racing, they barely make Mountain Dew Custom Series races. I think there's another Ford team I'm forgetting, Simtech Racing Incorporated. They are kind of a staple back marker of the truck series so far, but we're seeing possibly.
There's also another Cup team trying to get off the ground, DW Motorsports. That is, they might stick with Ford, but who knows? Come next season, I think they've only made one of their attempts so far.
Their debut was at Steelback. I think they DNQ'd I-69. They have not entered since, but that's more down to lack of funding right now. They haven't found a primary sponsorship as well. They have no drivers, of course, signed to their team so far. They're trying to find some drivers to run these races. But we did have an amazing entry list this weekend. I think there were 45 cars. That's the biggest entry list this season since the Sundrop 500. So no doubt that teams that are kind of struggling on funding, that aren't running for full time, doesn't have a sponsorship. I'm sure that's why he didn't enter, and that's why Burkhart Morris Motorsports didn't enter the 6 car this weekend. A large trek out to Texas as well. Pretty big entry list for a team with no sponsors. Jay Jefferson, though, has pulled away into the lead by a major margin. Reed second, Onjak third, but we want to point out Matty Porta has finally completed his charge back through the field, fighting Curtis right now for the 5th position. And give a shout out to Larry Hagan, who's moved that 21 car up to the 7th spot in the running order for TSR, looking like he could be a threat for this race win if this race comes to the end. But we're now down to just about 20 laps to go next time by after this time. But right now it's Jay Jefferson all out in front as the guys battle behind him, a dogfight for second, 3 wide.
Kukalon has been making these incredible moves into turn 1 lap after lap after lap in this race, and we're going to see another one right here. Give Sebi P2.
Oh, I don't know about that. Reed fighting back on the top, but I think he let up because he doesn't want to hit the wall. If you hit the wall now, you might not have to come down pit road, but it could ruin your race, especially when you're fighting up front. But I think that's the least that what Jefferson wanted to see, other than the number 55 in his rearview mirror, who's had that engine issue today. Kukalon's been charging. He's a 2-time winner this year. Jefferson was scared of him at Daytona when he lost to him there. He was scared of him at the beginning of the season when it looked like Kukalon was just going to set fire to the world. He's your points leader right now, and he is about to complete a bottom 10 to the front, possibly for this race win. Morris did a last to first challenge at Steelback. This wouldn't be a last to first challenge for Kukalon, but there could be a last to first challenge for this man right here. We get another caution, bunches the field back up. I wouldn't think that 94, he might have some pace to get up there, but I think if you see right now, it's a pretty far gap back to Jefferson with that top 3 single file, and Onjak's car starting to fade as Monster Motorsports coming to life.
Yeah, Matty Porter really muscled that car the last lap, but Curtis was able to get ahead of Porter last time by off of turn 4. I mean, Curtis, he's a former winner here at Texas World, right? He knows how to get around this joint.
And throwback to that, I was going to say earlier, I thought Yepes had a win. He did not, but Yepes knows how to get it done at this track, except off of turn 4. Because DJ Curtis took that, and wow, that was real close. I think he might have scraped it, but that's the lightest anyone's hit turn 2 that time. I saw some sparks, but he kept it clean. No damage to the side of that, and picked up some time now on Reed as Kukalon is chasing down Jefferson. But Curtis, a last lap pass in his debut event, I'm pretty sure, when he won in his part-time schedule in the Truck Series years ago, and now we're seeing the Goliaths fight once again. We saw this at Daytona on the final lap. Kukalon to the inside of Jefferson. Jefferson trying the outside, and he's going to try the outside here at Texas World. He's raced here before, he's won here before, but Kukalon now fighting him up front for the race lead. But again, as we said, Curtis, a previous winner here when he had that shock season, his part-time schedule in the trucks.
That's very interesting that Kukalon did that in turn 1. You saw him. He hesitated. He lifted off a little harder than he had, making the moves into turn 1. And now, forced on the inside in turn 3, he probably didn't want to do that then because Jefferson is rocketing away at the front once again. Curtis gets past and now leads the Monster Motorsports conglomerate. He's 3rd.
Reed's car looks like it's starting to fade a little bit. He's lost a lot of time to those front guys, but you see the ticker. They gained just about a 10th, not too much. But Curtis was passing Anderson Reed at that time. Kukalon lost a ton of time going to the inside, and that's what we said. The longer this race goes on, and the more that these tires wear, the more likely that inside line's going to just lose out on you. And Curtis now could be working with his teammates, and Reed and Porta to get up there. As Onjak has faded, looks like that car is not too hot out in front of the field. But he lost that time on pit road, lost the race lead, and I think the clean air is what this car was set up for because he's losing time now as Hagan's making a shot. And give a shout out to Jacob Edson and Roger Ray, recovery drives. Edson in the top 15, Ray in the top 15. Foster hit the wall earlier. He's back up to 11th. Colton Lane charging through. We got a ton of cars still left in this one, still racing. Out in front, though, we're looking at the wide-angle shot. The top 4 could be under a blanket here as we come down the back straightaway. 15 to go next time by.
Some side-by-side action back there as Jefferson pulls away out front. It was Larry Hagan. I think it was Hagan, Neal, and Burkhardt. It is now Ajak looks underneath Porta. That's an ill-timed move. It's not going to get him anything. But Neal looking to get back on Larry Hagan. Hagan trying to come into his own this season, put together some good runs. He found it at Middle Georgia just a few days ago, but now here at Texas World, getting himself some good runs. Where is he in the point standings? Let me pull that up. Larry is 19th, so a good run today is definitely what that 21 team needs.
You're thinking about points. You've seen a lot of guys get crashed out here, and I guess that's just the chaotic nature of the NSDCA. But really, most of the guys that are out of this race aren't fighting for the points outside of really, it looks like Cody Goforth. Stephen Wallace Jr., I think, is in the fight. I know he's in the fight in the Truck Series, but not really so much in the Cup with GDI. But most of the cars that have been taken out in this one are some of the more backmarker cars. And the guys that aren't really fighting for the top 20 in points, trying to get into the chase, more so around that top 30 cutoff. So right now you're seeing, even with a good day, all of your competitors are up here. You got Neal, Hagan, Onjak, Porta, Reed, Curtis, Kukulon, Jefferson, Cloud, Burkhardt. That's in your top 10 in a very weird order. But those guys are all fighting for the championship. You also have Foster. Ray is charging through. He's probably not going to make the chase this year, but he's charging through. Edson as well might not make the chase, but you got Yepes, Lane, DeLello, Friesen, all in that fight as well. Joseph Strigley, they're still alive, still kicking in this race. Irving Allison back there as well. So a lot of these championship rivals are still up front, but up front is where all the points are, with that top 15 getting those extra little points over the rest of the field. Curtis is trying to hang on, but Kukulon is starting to lose a ton of time in that 19 car.
Driver's also losing a ton of time is that 44 car, Peter Onjak, dropping further and further down. He's now in the clutches of Hagan, Neal, and Burkhardt there. Looks like we got Logan Cloud creeping up to the top 10. I think he's not too far off that train of 3 right there in that 77, putting together a good showing here as he tries to click on his return to Monster Motorsports.
This is the track 1 year ago that he made his return to the Cup Series after a brief hiatus at the beginning of the season. Pedal to Metal Racing was scrambling to find a driver. That's when Austin Murray filled up. Cloud finally came back after taking some time to himself. Had no ride, but when he come back, he was still in that P2M contract. Monster Motorsports was an alliance partner to him. He went over there, drove the 50, had a great run, I think, at Texas World. The rest of the season didn't go too well for him, especially finishing lower in points because he didn't run the full schedule. But right now in 10th, and you know he's got to be happy right now. He's been outperforming the 91 the last few weeks, and that's what he was worried about. He saw Jeff Alloway's great runs at I-69 and Nashville and thought, you know, maybe it was right that the 91 was replaced. But right now, Alloway has not shown up at these tracks. He got crashed off the bat here by Kukulon. Let's not forget about that. But Cloud's right now in the top 10, showing some great pace for the 77 and could have a top 5 run if he could charge on through. But now you got Roger Ray in the 84. He's the one charging on up into Kukulon. What the heck happened?
He had to get the wall, maybe something off the corner. What happened? Because Anderson Reed's now feeling the pressure from Curtis. We got a battle for the race lead coming to 10 to go. Oh my God, it's seconds. I got too excited there.
It could be a battle for the race lead because Jefferson, you know, these guys work together. They could start charging up. I just saw Onjak was ahead of Kukulon. We'll get a replay on that, of course. This is live, so we don't know right now, but we will get a replay on that. That changes everything. Kukulon doesn't have right side damage, so he had to have just, like, clipped the wall or something because he's losing a ton of time now. He didn't pit. He's still on the lead lap. Bizarre case there, but now...
Problem or something? Something leaking in that car? No, it doesn't look like it because, you know, we have the broadcast booth is allowed to get SMT data, so we do see some of the timing on all the cars. At least one, there's a problem if a sensor goes off or something, which we're very grateful to have. That came in, I want to say a few seasons ago, but now Curtis, Reed, Porta, three of the monster cars right up there. Kukulon now fighting back. May have gotten himself gathered back up. Now he's being forced up 3 wide. Some of these drivers not wasting around fighting here for the top 10's positions.
It has to be some mechanical failure. He does not have damage on the outside of his car, and it has no pace on the straights. He is dropping like a rock, so something's up with the 19 team, but something's not up with this man right here, Jay Jefferson, who in 8 more laps in this race, that's what, 16 miles at this 2-mile oval, he could be back in victory lane for the second time this season, and as we said last week, you don't put the dirt on him. You don't call him washed, because he is the best driver in NSDCA history. 2 championships, most wins in a career in total in the NSDCA. As you see Curtis and Reed fighting for second. And here's another thing that we've seen a lot this season is squabbling for second while the leader checks out. 2.8 is a long time to go, but if you're in the draft and Jay isn't, that could be big. Now you see Jay's driver Butcher. He's slow off the pace at the back there. But Jefferson came into last weekend down in points, down on luck, having some horrible race finishes, and now he's looking to go 2 in a row.
How about this? Let's realize something here. Last weekend, Jay Jefferson drove 1,100 miles. He ran a 500-mile cup race and 2 300-mile truck races. Jefferson came home with the victory after a grueling weekend on drivers. Now, coming into this weekend, he had a 500-mile race in a discipline he's never driven before, that being IndyCar, and now a 600-mile cup race. 22,000 miles for 8 or 9 days, and now he's going a chance to possibly end both of those weekends in victory lane.
Can't even say that, too. He had a great, fantastic run in the Indy 500, coming close to a race victory there. Led a ton of laps in that, and that was for Chip Ganassi Racing over there in the number 48. He's in the 48 here, looking to bring this one home for his own team. 2.6 ahead. Curtis is not doing Reed any favors. Reed has been squabbling with him all day. Porta's also there. Onjak's 5th. Look at Logan Cloud. We said a little bit ago, top 10's great. He's looking for a top 5 with Monster Motorsports possibly getting 4 of their guys up there. Also, Roger Ray has put that 84, and Jacob Edson, the 82, fighting just outside the top 10. And it's got to be mechanical. You're not losing that much time with no damage on the car, because that 19 car is kaput. Whatever happened in there, we don't have a reading for it. He is struggling. You see the 55 also with that engine issue. He's down on power, but you're coming around now. 4 laps to go, and Monster Motorsports ain't going to catch you. If you're Jay Jefferson, just keep it off the wall, and you're home free in that 48.
Car could be overheating, or, it's so hot out. The driver is Kukulon just too hot in the car, and he just can't keep it under him. Caution out. Oh, we got a green-white checker coming in. It's Edson out of the top 10 into the wall for the 82. Heartbreaking.
Oh, that really sucks for Jacob. Was having a great day looking for a top 10, but now, do you pit? Do the tires come in? Green-white checkered finish. These guys are able to make it to the end. Even with 3 green-white checkers, you can make it to the end, and you're good. These guys pit with 40 to go. You have 55 laps of fuel. Is anyone going to take tires? Is anyone going to take fuel? Is anyone... I don't think you do from the front, but maybe in the back just to pick up some spots. We'll see what'll happen.
Jefferson, he's in the position damned if you do, damned if you don't, because some of these guys might be thinking opposite, but looks like they're thinking the same. Nobody wants to give up their track position because they don't want to be the only ones down pit road.
I see that too, but you just gotta think maybe. Like, these guys back here, they don't have the pace. Even if you get fresh tires, you're not making up for a lack of engine output. Top 10, maybe I wouldn't.
2 laps. I mean, I said it earlier in the race it might matter, but 2 laps can only gain so much.
Oh, Neil got in it too, so it must have been an issue with the 94 and the 82 getting together. Kukulon, if I was the 19 team, I think, well, maybe he's trying to stop the bleeding, save the bleeding, and not lose a bunch of spots, but maybe just bring it down pit road and see if you can fix it, because you have the pace to blow by a bunch of those guys. You did before, but he's not going to win it. We got a big fight here. Butcher will get the free pass and get out of the front battle, as we're going to have 2 laps to go here at Texas World.
Turn 2, Calamity Corner, strikes again. Dusty Neal out of the groove is going to find the edge of the safer barrier, bounce down, and Edson just clips the back of the South Point Dodge Charger. And Edson finds the inside wall, but Neal gathers it back up into the grass, and I think is going to make it onto the track safely because nobody else gets into this. Yep. Oh, no, he doesn't. Caught Diego Yepes there in the 35. Missed the damage on the 35 machine there, but it's the incident we've seen all day, and that's all I have to say about it. Well, folks, we are back, and this one is going to 602. Green-white checkered here, and Jay Jefferson's lead has been evaporated. Now he's got Monster Motorsports chomping at the bit to get by him. Second, third, fourth, and sixth. 4 of their 6 cars. Peter Onjek there in 5th. Knows how to get by Jefferson as well. Jefferson has Larry Hagan there, his teammate, in 7th. Brady Burkhart 8th. Roger Ray 9th. And Tim Foster rebounds to the top 10. The other 2 Monster Motorsports cars running in 11th and 13th. Carter Friesen splits them in 12th. Kuklon's dropped back. And now it's who do you want to help and how hard can you drive it into the corners without hitting the wall? Or anyone else.
That's what you're going to see. Come to the white flag. Once it hits the white flag with the NSDCA rules, you race back to a caution. You get the white flag, the next time you go around is the end of the race. Someone's going to send it into turn 2 and not care about the wall and try to use it as an advantage. They might try to video game it because you got guys here. I don't know if you're 4th on back. I don't know if you're making it without some big move by the Monster guys up front. But Monster is everyone's friend right now except Jay Jefferson's. Green flag's back in the air. 2 laps to go. It's overtime in the NSDCA.
Okay, then that 3 and a 5, they got a good start, but Curtis goes high. He's going to say, Anderson, you've ran up here more than I have. Go for this one yourself for the time being. Here comes Reed driving it into turns 1 and 2 to the inside. He's going to clear Jefferson by the exit, it looks like. Maybe not. Look at the mid-corner run by the 48, but has to check up and give it to the 3. Now Curtis sets his sights on second to the inside. Does the inside check up? Does Porta throw it in?
Here they go. You got to run as you can, but that inside line's not the king. But here goes Reed, clear to the lead and pulling away as Curtis fights for second. If they get the white flag, the race will be official as they come off the corner. 1 car ducking down pit road. Reed is out in front. Here comes Onjek going crazy. Logan Cloud making a move, but Reed has set sail from Jay Jefferson, and Jay looks like the caution at the end is going to cost him, but he has maybe one last shot at it if he can get a run into turn number 3. As Porta, Onjek had a pretty poor corner. Porta jumps to the inside of Curtis, and here they come down the back.
Boy, Curtis really checked up there in turn 2. It was the Texan winning the Pennsylvanian event. Now, will the Pennsylvanian win in Texas? Anderson Reed's going to come off turn 4 and see the checkered flag.
Reed has not been a short track guy. He's done real good this year, and he's finally going to get a big race win. Reed is going to take it. The Texas World race goes to Anderson Reed and Monster Motorsports. Who was the car that ducked down pit road? It was Bowers again, so that team was really... He was 1 lap down. He probably just didn't want to tear the car up, thinking something was going to happen. Might have just pit. Might have had an issue in the 25. No, it looks like he just came down pit. Jefferson's got to hate that. Another race, another crown jewel on the season. He gets passed in the closing laps and loses. Monster Motorsports says, hello, boys. With a 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 6th. Friesen 8th. DeLello gets a top 10. Lane 12th. Roger Ray drops like a rock to 15th. Heartbreaking for that. Hagan just misses out of top 10. Antoine Smith, solid top 20 there. Neal was charging. He gets ahead of Kukulon, who ends up 21st. What a wild race we saw, but Anderson Reed, the PA boy, defends his Pocono loss and gets it in front of the Texas crowd like Jay got it at Pocono last time out. But Jay Jefferson, a 2.5 average finish for the weekend is nothing to scoff at for that number 48 driver. A great run there. But Anderson Reed finally breaks through to his first Cup Series victory.
Boy, the NSDCA rarely disappoints, and we saw an incredible race today. I mean, we had some repetitive incidents that will hopefully work out with the Texas World Board and safety workers. Obviously, our safety team are going to definitely work on the backstretch, I think, over the off season. So hopefully we don't see the incidents like we saw this year, but an incredible race out front, ton of passing, ton of lead changes, and you cannot go wrong with the racing product we saw today.
You saw it. You had drivers multiple times in this race pulled out to large gaps, pulling away. You had Jefferson out to a big margin. You had Onjak, big margin. You had Reed getting up there at the end and was able to pull it by a couple car lengths at the end. But nothing matters in the race if there's 2 laps left. If Jefferson dominates the entire race, but we go to overtime, you got to commit there. He didn't get the best restart. You had Curtis just shoving Reed and shoved Reed into turn 1, got Reed by, and then went after Jefferson himself, which really helped Reed pull away. But that is great to see now. We had Toyota dominance over this season with the short track races, the early bigger tracks that race like super speedways like Las Vegas and Auto Club, some crazy fast tracks, and now Chevrolet, Dodge finally coming back in. Will we see Ford finally get their first win this season? Who knows? Miracles can happen, but you may need a bit more of a miracle than that with the Ford lineup this year. Anderson Reed is going to come home with the victory at Texas World. A fantastic drive by Monster Motorsports' number 3. 100 laps behind us here. Going to be still a long way left in this season to go. Race 11 of 26. That means is over, so that means we have 7 races until the chase for the championship. The point standing is going to be very important coming out of this one. For Peter and myself, we thank you guys tuning in for all 100 laps. We'll see you guys next time. The NSDCA.